Hey guys! Oh, that's loud. Guys, hi, thank you for having me here. This is the speech that I'll be giving you today. And I kind of want to start with a little bit of a confession. I don't actually know where my career is going at this point, and that feeling used to make me feel really, really bad at myself. Like, I have this vision of a mountain in the distance, right? I can see the rough edges, there's a snowstorm going on. I can't really see the peak, but I know that it's there because I have an internal compass that's trying to show me the rough way there. I apologize for using a mountain metaphor because these are completely overused in summits like this, but it's a classic and we all know what a mountain looks like, so we'll get started there. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Alina Naza. I'm a YouTuber and filmmaker, and I'm also the founder of Thinction, which is basically a video production studio that's an antidote to AI slop and a lot of meaningless content that's out there right now. I think my purpose in creating is to bring humanity, soul, and emotions back into content, really. And so some members of my team are here. Hi, guys. So I'm not alone. There's a bunch of us working on this, and I'm really proud. And in fact, I feel like I've been making something called Thinction for a very long time, because I was on a stage around a corner about a year ago, telling you guys about my new video, which was called Sugar Free. And at the time, I was doing a series of 30-day challenges. And that challenge, I quit sugar for 30 days. And when I made the film about it, I was like, I don't want it to just be another challenge video. I want to make it experimental and super cinematic. And guys, there was a hallucination scene, and there was a scene where I almost made sweet love to a piece of chocolate. Like, yeah. Needless to say, I was doubting a lot of decisions while I was making this film, but my team supported me, and I was like, this feels right, so I'll keep going. And I'm super proud to say that a year later, the video now has 1.3 million views on YouTube, which is absolutely, like, it still blows my mind. However, despite the 30-day challenges going pretty well for me as a creator, I'm not sure that that's a vision that's gonna last. And in fact, my visions 1 through 6 never lasted. And that's probably because for the first 10 years of my career as a content creator, my goal was, how do I make money doing this shit? Which is pretty much our goal with a lot of things in life, right? But that is neither a vision and nor is it a compass. So let's get to the meat of what I want to tell you guys today. So, what is a vision in the first place? I'm going to do that thing where I ask you a question, so let's participate. Guys, who here has something that they're trying to create or build and they lose sleep over it at night? No, don't be shy. Don't be shy. OK, keep your hand up if you've been doing it for more than 6 months. OK, cool. And keep your hand up if you haven't even told anyone about it yet. Ah, so we have some. OK, nice. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, that, in fact, whatever was in your mind right now was your vision with a capital V. It was the big thing. And what I don't like about visions is that they're quite binary, right? We're at a tech conference, thought I'd use the word binary. You either get it or you don't. You're either going to succeed or you're going to fail, right? And that's what makes having a vision and making all of your decisions from that place of having a vision quite fragile. Because life doesn't work that way. Life gives us surprises, right? Like, one day you're flying on the high, the next day something terrible happens and you're super low. So how is a fixed point in the distance supposed to survive that? It won't. And in fact, a lot of founders, most of whom are amongst us here even now, will tell you that they've had to pivot once or twice or 3 times or 4 times in their lives. And the point is, that pivot to them probably at the time felt like a total failure. At least it did to me the first 6 times. But I'm here to say that it's not a failure, and what's more important is that it actually doesn't matter at all. Because we need something that can grow and move with us, that can change directions and handle any terrain. And for me, that's a compass, an internal one. However, a compass is pretty useless if you don't know how to read it, right? Sorry, I'm looking at my notes.
In parentheses, don't know where to read it.
Yes, I used the paper. I should have put it on my hand like Nicholas. Sorry. Okay, so it's all great and good having a compass, but what actually helps you find that internal compass and read it? I really, really believe that all of us have a superpower that we criminally underuse. And that superpower is curiosity. And when I say curiosity, a lot of people start thinking of little children, right? Someone naive and someone innocent. But in my world, curiosity is a hunger. It's a greediness for life. It's wanting to know and do more. Curiosity is what led me to make sugar-free, and curiosity is what led me to my next project, which I will tell you a little bit about now. Yes. Don't play it yet. Don't play it yet. So a couple of months ago, I was doing a 30-day photography challenge. While I was doing that challenge, my dad called me up, and he was like, hey, do you want to go to Tajikistan? Does anybody here know where Tajikistan is? Yes, okay, a little bit of education about Tajikistan. So, for context, my mother is Russian, hi mom, and my dad is from Tajikistan, and in all of my 28 years of my life, I had never been to the country. And so my dad called me up and he's like, do you want to go? I said, yes, of course I want to go. Because as a content creator, I was like, this is going to make the perfect finale for my photography challenge, going back to my roots to take pictures of new memories, amazing. So I said yes, and this is a little bit of what that looked like. Vasily.
I always ask my grandmother for the same bedtime story about wild mountains raging rivers and two little girls who helped each other escape. She never used a book because she remembered everything.
Yay. Okay. Thanks, you guys. This video just came out on YouTube. Go check it out. But it was one of the most important and one of the hardest trips of my life. I came back excited to share about it. I jumped into writing my script. I jumped into editing. And then I got a call telling me that my grandmother had passed away. And suddenly, everything I was working on became literally toxic. Like, I couldn't touch the footage. I couldn't touch the script. And between this project and my other job and trying to get another project off the ground, and my grief, of course, I completely burnt out. And for a few months, I just had to sit under a tree doing nothing, twiddling my thumbs, and that was quite hard. However, after some time, in the shade of the tree, I picked up a book. And the book was called Women That Run with the Wolves. A little bit dramatic, but it's a great read, especially for my girls. And while I was reading it, I felt a spark inside. I felt my system come back online. And what do you think was the first emotion that came back online for me? Anyone? Curiosity, yeah. That's the one. Because the book made me think about my mother. It made me think about my grandmother. It made me think about every single woman that came before me. And it made me realize that each woman was an entire world and universe of her own. And suddenly, the format of the challenge just wasn't enough to express the story that I was trying to tell. And so I had to switch to something else. I wrote a new script, I made a new video, I really liked it. Happy end, right? But not so fast. For you to get something out of this talk, we need to get into the nitty-gritty detail for a second. So let's go back to Tajikistan. Vasily, can I have the next slide, please? We're back in Tajikistan, yeah! So while I was in Tajikistan, I went on a 5-day nonstop car journey to get to the place of my grandmother's birthplace. That's not me. That's not my grandma either, I'm going to tell you that. Anyway, once I got to that place, I was greeted by beautiful, oh my lord. Anyway, once I got there, I was greeted by, You can do this, Vasily. Let's go. I was greeted by beautiful green valleys, majestic mountains. There was a sparkling river. Not this one. Next, next. My guy. We'll get there. Next. Next. I get an extra 4 minutes, I'm just saying. There. Cool. So I did a 5-day nonstop road trip to get here, the place of my grandma's birth. I was greeted by beautiful green valleys and majestic mountains, and there was a river sparkling through it, and I saw the house that my grandmother had told me so many times before bedtime as a little girl. How do you guys think I felt in that moment? Amazing, right? Well, I'll show you how I felt. Vasily, next slide, and play, please.
2 hours later.
I'm getting you a coffee later. I felt terrible. Yeah. I felt like someone took my heart and ripped it out of my chest, and the entire time that I was there, I could not stop crying. And that's the thing I want to tell you about curiosity. It's not always going to take you to a comfortable place, but it will take you somewhere true. Unfortunately, oftentimes the truth really, really hurts. And as humans, we are so good at lying to ourselves. So it's great to have a compass, but it's not easy to get it to work. And before I went to Tajikistan, I had to think, okay, why am I making this video? Is it because I really love my grandmother and I really miss her and all these ancestral things? Partially. But what was my driving emotion behind it? It was shame. I was ashamed that I had not spent enough time with her. And yeah, sorry, now I'm getting emotional. I didn't think I'd get emotional. I was ashamed I didn't spend enough time with her, and I had to accept that shame before I could go and make this video. I had to accept that I was the world's most disgraceful granddaughter. And when I accepted that, I asked myself a simple question. Can I still go there feeling that amount of shame? Yes, I could. And basically, I've made every single big decision in my life in a similar way for the past 3 years. And I have a little bit of a 2-step system that I want to teach you so you can get something out of it as well and get your compasses to work. So the first step is get ugly. So whatever decision that you're fighting with and you're trying to make, you need to really identify the driving emotion behind it, right? You have to understand, if it's a happy, nice emotion, great, accept it. If it's an ugly emotion, like shame or fear or, I don't know, jealousy, you need to accept it twice. You need to look it right in the eye, marinate in it, and just deal with the shitty person that you are. So once you accept that and you're lying there naked and cold, shivering on your bathroom floor, you need to ask yourself a question, a simple yes or no question, really fast, about the decision. Do I want to go to Tajikistan? Yes. You're going to feel the answer in your gut. You're not going to hear it in your head. And you need to go with the answer in your gut because your head is going to come up with a whole story of why this and that and this. So putting those two together is how I get my own compass to work. And I hope that you can get yours to work this way too. And in the meantime, I want to say I still don't know what the top of my mountain looks like. It's still covered in snow. But at least I know I have a working compass. And now it's time for you to go fix yours. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Alina!
Thank you. That was fun.
Who can resonate with what she said? Thank you. I appreciate you giving up. And one word that was used 3 times today by you and by you, what word does she describe? One word. Authenticity. This is what authenticity looks like. This is what a star in the making looks like. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw her here. Alina Naza, give her a massive round of applause.
Any questions?